welcome and a warm good evening to all of you here. I am from Kerala, so I'm not very fluent in Tamil. Alayvarkum vanakkam. I am really honored today to preside over an open house with such distinguished guests of this standing. This is the first time in my life that I have received this opportunity. So I'm really grateful to the city of Madurai for this amazing welcome. Truly, truly grateful. Let me begin by thanking our guests, Sri Solomon Papaya, Sri Isaac Mohanlal, Srimati Anandavalli, Sri Balasubramanian, and Sri Sami Durai for coming here today to provide awareness and understanding on a topic which I feel when I was young, had I been given, I would have saved 1 year of my life. So there is a strong personal story in my life as to why I value these open houses. So like most other kids who studied in Loyola School in Trivandrum, when I grew up, everybody aspired to be an engineer or a doctor. And I too was part of the rat race. And I decided to join engineering. I got into a very good college and I did 1 year of engineering. Because at that point, I did not even know that the opportunity is there for a first generation individual, a learner, to become a lawyer. So this is back in 2001. Thankfully, the same year, one of my classmates got into this institution called the National Law School of India University in Bangalore. So I had no idea that there was such an institution delivering very high quality legal education. I think I almost missed out on that opportunity, but a year later, thanks to my friend having gone the previous year, I decided to pursue law. I gave up on engineering. I wrote the national entrance examination, got into law school, and then have pursued a series of different exciting things with my life, including the practice of law for the first 6 years, and then higher studies in the US, and then working in a policy think tank, and finally at Vinayaka Missions Law School today, serving as the dean of the institution. Why I mentioned this is that if one person who did not even have awareness of the potential of legal education can go on to do so many different things just by being armed with a law degree, imagine the possibilities for those of you who at this stage in your life are here to gain awareness about what we can do if you learn the law. Now, as far as Vinayaka Missions Law School is concerned, we approach this from the point of view of where legal education is today and where we can take it in the future. And by that, I would like to highlight three main trends that are happening in the world around us. The first is what technology is doing to all of us today. And as a result of which, the scope for lawyers who may not even go to court, but who may be called upon to give high quality advice. I can give you a very simple example. When I left college in 2007, when I graduated, it was just the beginning of what we today call the big tech companies. Facebook was known at that point as a replacement for Orkut. Many of the young people in this room may not even know what Orkut was. Some of us will know that. Google was just becoming a dominant search engine. Amazon, very little of Amazon in India. Flipkart was just selling books, nothing else. Today, look at where the world is 15, 20 years down the line. Completely different landscape where technology permeates each and every aspect of our lives. But on account of that, there are very many questions and challenges too that come up. One major one, which we see very recently, even the Reserve Bank of India intervening, is the issue of cyber frauds, including various leading banking apps. Today, the Reserve Bank of India takes a very stern view on this matter because many thefts today happen not in the physical world, but in this cyber world. And this requires well-trained lawyers who can both prosecute such cases as well as appear for the defense, as well as advise banks and other organizations on how to protect their data. Similarly, data protection has become a big matter of concern for all of us, as all our data is fed into some server, some database residing somewhere which is completely outside our control, and we are all profiled as individuals. Today, the joke is that Google or Facebook know more about us than our parents or our spouses. And that is probably true because that is the amount of time that we spend on these digital products. But is there any protection that we have against these new challenges? The answer is law. The answer is policy built on the fundamental principles of law. The second major challenge that the world is facing today is that of climate change. Year on year, as we can see, the world is getting hotter, the earth is getting hotter. There are very many challenges that we face on account of that, including forest fires, its impact on our human health, and many more such challenges. As we speak about transitioning from fossil fuels, petrol, natural gas, etc., to new ways of renewable energy generation like solar and wind power, law and policy form the basis of creating incentives for human beings to shift from a world that we have seen to a world that we want to build tomorrow. Especially for children of today, this presents very many opportunities along with the various challenges that it may come with. As laws are being rewritten, including company law, environmental law, water law, and other areas of law, there is tremendous scope for those of you who are well trained to make your presence felt in this area. The third major challenge that we face today, and which we all acknowledge, is the rising inequality. We all know that there is a deep concentration of wealth, and that deep concentration of wealth occurs because there is deep concentration of knowledge. Because we are in a knowledge economy where knowledge translates to wealth. Now, how do we unlock the potential of knowledge to all students across class divides, across caste divides, and most importantly, across language divides? And this is something that at Vinayaka Missions Law School, we take pride and we take a lot of effort to ensure that students, regardless of whether they are from a Tamil medium school, a Hindi medium school, or an English medium school, have an equal opportunity to learn the foundational principles of law, to get the best internships, and to make the most of their opportunities as a law student. So, in that sense, I would actually venture to say in a forum like today that we are a fourth generation law school. You had the first generation of law schools, which were largely run by the government, which provided us the finest lawyers who appeared for citizens in courts of law, wearing your black robes and coat and gown and fighting cases. Then you had the second generation of law schools, started in 1988 as a trend with the setting up of the National Law School in Bangalore. Dr. N.R. Madhav Menon had a vision of an integrated 5-year law program where you combine an understanding of economics, social sciences with a learning of law. And with the two combined, you can be a successful legal professional. Thankfully, for that model, it coincided with India's liberalization story. In 91, 92, as we know, under the able leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, the country liberalized, and at that point, there were various multinational corporations coming in to enter into contracts, different kinds of new arrangements and new kinds of regulations. Every sector in the country went through a massive regulatory transformation. We all know how difficult it used to be to get a telephone connection in our country till the year 1994 or 95. The privatization of the telecom sector, of the power sectors, and all other infrastructure of multiple sectors led to the creation of new regulatory bodies, and thereby was born the second generation of law schools, where students, well trained in an understanding of how to think critically, how to find the law, how to do effective legal research, got ample opportunities to shine in the law firms and the various multinational corporations. Then you have our own mentor, Jindal Global Law School, which set in motion the third wave of legal education, what I would call the global legal education model. Jindal Law School, set up in the year 2008, if I'm not mistaken, had a vision that this is one law school where students can go and in India get an education comparable to what you have in the best, in the finest universities across the globe. So instead of going to the United States or the United Kingdom to pursue a degree in law, you can be a Jindal Global Law School, and from there You can do exchange programs. You have faculty who are coming from all across the world, and you have the kind of infrastructure that is comparable with the global infrastructure that we all take pride in. So thereby was born the third wave of thinking about legal education, where we are equipping Indian law students to not only shine in India, to not only do well in courts of law, law firms and corporations in India, but to go abroad and find a presence there as successful legal professionals. We take the best from all these models, and we have set out on a journey to be the fourth generation law school, to set a model of legal education that hopefully in time shall be taken as a model for others to emulate as well across the country in various states. Now, what are these foundational principles on which we have built this fourth generation? One, a steady emphasis on the idea of bilingual legal education. Like I mentioned earlier, ours is a law school that makes no distinction on the basis of language. In fact, we welcome students from the rural parts of Tamil Nadu who may have studied without a basic grounding in English, but are passionate, motivated enough to become lawyers. We will train them, we will provide them with the right kind of industry linkages, the right kind of exposure, so that they can shine in their careers as law professionals. The second is by designing a sort of curriculum, a kind of curriculum that aims to the future. We call ourselves a law school of the future for this particular reason. We look at these various transitions and design courses, both core courses and electives, which are focused on the technology transitions around us and what is happening in the world around us on account of climate change and unsustainable models of economic growth. The third reason we call ourselves the fourth generation law school is that we take skills and skill building very seriously. I can reflect back to my days as a student at the finest institution arguably in the country, NLSIU Bangalore, where even then there was very little focus on how to speak in public, how to be an effective communicator, how to write very well, how to present in a digital world where you need to learn to make visual presentations. So all these are skills that no lawyer today can escape from. This is the reality of the times we live in, including numerical thinking. Earlier the joke was, if you're weak in maths, you can become a lawyer. But today that is no longer the case. Even if you pursue law, you should have a foundational understanding or grounding of statistics, because we live in a data-fied world. So you cannot ignore the fact that data science and what data scientists do influence our lives, and as far as lawyers go, influence the kinds of issues on which law and policy must certainly weigh. So these are some of the reasons why we have decided to pursue this journey towards these various open house sessions, this being the fourth one that I'm doing. We started off in Tirunelveli, we have been in Nagarkoil, Tuticorin, now Madurai, and we look forward to next week where we will be in Trichy, Salem, and then subsequently Chennai and neighboring districts. So the idea behind this open house is simply to do one thing and one thing alone: to provide awareness on the potential and possibilities of legal education. And therefore, you can't ask for a better gathering and a better set of chief guests and guests of honor than who we have today on this stage. They have all accomplished significant things in their life, are looked up to as individuals who can show the path for the young generation today on what next they can pursue. Some of them have accomplished the highest echelons of success when it comes to lawyering. Some of them have achieved the highest echelons of success when it comes to scholarship. So that's the kind of audience that we thought, that's the kind of speakers we felt this audience would definitely benefit from, and we are merely facilitators to this conversation or this interaction between our stellar speakers and all of you assembled here today. I thank you all once again, our distinguished principals, students, parents, and of course, all our distinguished panel members for taking your valuable time out and giving us this opportunity in the city of Tunga Nagaram, right? So thank you all, and I close with that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward, I take pride in taking this opportunity to invite